Common Sense Living podcast today, where I'm going to add common sense and value to your life. Get a pen and paper because you're going to want to take some notes today. I have a special guest, Michael Villines, and
Yes, you got
he's
it.
going to talk about stem cell activation. I think we all would like to hear that. So with that, Michael, welcome and give us some information.
Yeah, so stem cell activation. So what we use is a patch, and the patch that it has a bunch of sugars and things that were in organic material that are shrunk down into being nanocells. And then the nanocells turn into these little crystals, and then they put the crystals on a felt part on the patch that we put on our skin, and your body heat melts the crystals, and then the patch runs on 15 frequencies, and then those frequencies with the GHKCU copper peptide that's in the patch, that when your copper peptide gets elevated in your body, then your body starts using more of the stem cells that it's making.
Wow. Technology's come a long way. And where do you put the patch?
So you can put it on two places. You can put it behind the two places that it's been tested on, that we have studies to show, are behind the neck, like right there, or you can put it right below your belly button. But we've been assured by David Schmidt, who's the founder, that you can put the patch on any area of your body and it'll work.
Wow. Oh, wow. It just blows me away. I know they have injections available, but they're like $4,000 a shot. And I don't even know how much. I don't have $4,000, so I didn't go any further on that. But
Right. And this is about the price of a cup of coffee a day.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That's cool. Boy, I'm so full of questions. I don't know where to start. We were talking about it a bit yesterday or the other day too, and it just like fascinates me. Maybe that's why I can't bring my questions to light. Anywhere on the body for how long?
12 hours on, 12 hours off.
Okay, and
yeah. So the only reason we say 12 on, 12 off is because if you keep the patch on your body for too long, there's something called skin attenuation, to where, because the patch is operating on frequencies, that your body gets used to the frequency, so the patch doesn't work as well as it should. So we say 12 on, 12 off, and the patches are really good. The most that people get out of it is really about 12 hours. And so when you wear it for only 12 and then you take it off for 12, it gets your body time to recoup from everything that went through. And then the next day, same time, put patch on, and then go forward from there.
I've used patches for other things, and it's so simple. I had up here what was called a hypertrophic scar, and you could get it wet and everything, but of course you had to take that off too. And because, it's almost like putting a Band-Aid on and leaving it on for too long. It's like it sticks to your skin so well, you feel like you're peeling your skin off. But yeah, I think all these skin treatments are so cool. Who likes to get a shot?
Nobody does.
No.
And I mean, and if for some reason you were to leave the patch on for 12 hours, as I've done and other people have done, you would just not wear it the next day, and then the day after put it on. That way your body doesn't get too used to the frequencies, and then it's time to recoup, and then like it did before.
So is it 30-day supply at a time?
Yeah, you
Okay.
get the patches come in something that we call a sleeve, and all the sleeves have a 30-day supply in them.
Ah, and so I've got my first 30 days. How soon to order before I run out? 2 weeks?
Um, really, the shipping's pretty fast, so you could wait 2 or 3 weeks after probably,
Okay.
and then you would be fine after that, and then you would be good to go.
Hmm. So how long typically do people take before there's results? And what kind of results? Am I going to get rid of all my wrinkles?
You might have a friend who's in her 70s and she looks like she's in her early 60s.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I know, so results depending upon who you are really vary.
Right.
That some people, that because you're elevating the copper peptide that's in your body, for some people it can take up to 3 months
Hmm.
before they really start noticing anything. Some people can notice something, like my friend who's in her 70s. She noticed something happen immediate or pretty soon after she started wearing them. If
Hmm.
you're younger, then you may see the results and stuff happen a lot sooner. So it just really depends on who you are and
Right.
what in your body's out of whack.
Yeah.
And
Because we're all individual.
right, we're all individual and your body knows best.
Right.
So you might use it for something and be like, oh, hey, I'd love it if it do this or whatever. And then
Right.
you don't notice that happening till months or maybe a couple years after you've been using the patch consistently. And that's just because your body knows best and it decided you needed stem cells somewhere else.
Hmm. Oh, sure. Sure. Yeah. If you
And
if
then
you if you have a pain here, but you have a worse one here that hasn't really come yet, it's building, so it'll go where the body needs it.
right,
Mhm.
that and yeah, and we recommend everybody who starts off to start below your belly button, 3 fingers below your belly button,
Mhm.
and then that's the recommended spot to put it.
Okay. And on the back of the neck, is it on the spine or off to the side?
So you'll notice as you go down your back, there's like this little bump that's there.
Yeah.
That's where it was tested.
Okay.
And so
Right
that's
about where
where,
the collar rides.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that, so yeah, so that's where we recommend people to put it. And then, and the only reason we say start below the belly button is if you have some sensitivity to the patches,
Hmm.
that's a better place to start. Like LifeWave has more than just stem cell patches, and we tell people, hey, like only start off with one patch and then build up with other ones and then
Oh,
go from
sure.
there that way. Because if you start with too many patches at once, you can experience a sharp detox symptom
Oh, yeah.
from whatever you're going through. So our goal is to limit as serious of a detox as possible so that you're benefited, so that whatever you go through with the healing, that it it's most beneficial to you.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. It's like the body's overwhelmed. You have a drink. It doesn't mean you drink the whole bottle at once. It's the same kind of thing. If you drink the whole bottle, boy, are you going to feel that, and not in a good way. So yeah, it's interesting how the body works, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So I'm looking at that article I ran across today. It says the stem cell is basically a blank slate cell with a remarkable ability to transform into specialized cells in your body. So it's like we just said, the body takes and uses it where it needs it.
Right. And I mean, and some people they've experienced a ton of different things like the skin remodeling. Some people have noticed my one mentor, she noticed something happening with a scar, so the skin remodulation. Some people get younger, like my friend did, and then some people with their memory, energy, sleep, just a whole bunch of stuff. And all those are just claims that we can make because of the studies that have been done and what's been shown.
Hmm.
But people have talked about a ton of different stuff and
I,
getting benefits and
I'm curious how it would work on an Alzheimer's patient. I think if my mother was still alive, boy, we'd be trying it on her just to see. I think because she was in good shape, just couldn't remember anymore, and that's so sad. And I
yeah,
see here too, it says like if your heart muscle is damaged, the stem cell can morph into the healthy new heart cell. Like you said, you use where it needs. And if your knee cartilage is damaged, it can transform into fresh new cartilage. It just sounds like a miracle drug. And every cell in the corner of your body, stem cells truly universal repairmen that patrol every corner of your body. When a problem arrives, they have the parts you need and the skills to fix it, the right guy to come in and fix it for you then. And miraculous, there's just no other word to describe it, it says.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I mean, like with anything, LifeWave's not intended to diagnose, treat, cure,
Right.
or do anything with any medical conditions or consult your physician. But stem cells are the body's number one cell for whatever it needs.
Yeah. Well, here it says too, by age 35, stem cell production is cut in half. By 65, it's plummeted by 90%. Oh my God. And I'm over that. And those cells that do remain are tired, weak, and old. So it takes longer to heal a cut, get over a cold, recover from a round of golf. That sounds just so fascinating. It's like, what do they call it? The fountain of youth in a
Yeah.
sense. And
So,
so I want to get rid of my wrinkles. And instead, I've got a sore leg. And my leg feels better. And I still have the wrinkles. That's okay. I don't have the sore leg. And then it can go to the wrinkles.
yeah. And one thing is if there's a ton of inflammation in your body, the stem cells can get eaten up by wherever that inflammation is.
Mm.
So that's one thing. And then I know uh dealing with inflammation and some things like that, you can use the stem cell patch to deal with some of that because stem
Ah,
cells go wherever your body thinks it should go, and because you can put the stem cell patch on wherever that if you've got an inflammation somewhere, put the patch over that area where you've got inflammation and then feel it go to work. You can't really
hmm.
watch it go to work, but you can feel it. And
Yeah, you can just feel something's different. I'm anxious to try them and then report back to you how it feels or whatever. Because my body talks to me and I listen. So we communicate pretty well together, and I'm just fascinated with science and the DNA and all that. And so this is very intriguing to me. I'm not one to jump on the bandwagon and try just anything. So
right,
yeah, and I never recommend something that I haven't tried myself. So, but I'm recommending everybody give it a try because it sounds so great, and it sounds a whole lot better than a $4,000 shot. I mean, the beginning of this article, it was talking about people are spending $65,000 for stem cell shots. That kind of
well,
money. I mean, it's atrocious.
and so if you ever read Life Force, the book that Tony Robbins came out with, that
Hmm.
he did all the different,
I think
because
I've got it.
has he has a chapter in there on stem cells.
Ah,
And
I gotta look and see if this is that book. It is. This is it.
yeah, I forget which chapter it is, but it is chapter 2, I believe.
Power of stem cells. Yep, page 40. Huh, how did I miss that?
Because he had a stem cell treatment done to him because he was dealing with trying to save his shoulder. I
Ah,
think it was from a polo accident or something.
oh yeah, the horse polo story.
Yeah, and he ended up getting the stem cell injections,
Mm,
but that can be anywhere from like $25,000 to 40,000.
yeah, for one. Yeah, that's why the elite are the ones that can have it. I had the
And
one in my
then
house.
yeah, and then he talked about like you could get some stem cell shots for like $4,000 or something like that. Not as costly as the injections, but it's crazy how expensive it can get.
Mm,
And
right.
then also, and I mean in the book he used, I want to say he talked about in your 30s to 60s. And then I read an article on stem cells, that the first article with the research that was done with the company, that they talked about people between their 40s and 90, I think 90 or their late 80s, and they mentioned the same number as well. So
Hmm.
it, and the crazy thing is about all of it is your body still makes a ton of stem cells. It's just not using all of what it's making.
Well, and part of it is we abuse our bodies so much. We are too sedentary and we eat too much of the junk food. So I would imagine if you're eating really healthy and you take the stem cells, it's going to act real quick. But otherwise, your body is just contaminated with a bunch of junk. And it's kind of like I look at it that poor stem cell stuff has to really weave through all the junk that you put in your body.
Well, they're gonna working on whatever they think needs to be worked on.
Yeah,
So whether it's the damage that you're doing with the junk food or whatever it is, or
yeah,
maybe you're doing something to where you keep on hurting yourself and your body's like, oh man, gotta send everybody back. Like, let's go, guys. And
yeah, yeah. The army to the rescue.
right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Sounds so just so fascinating. So how do I get some? Anybody
So
that wants them, how do they get them?
so how you get them is that you can type in lifewave.com/ the autoimmune coach, and you will get on there, and then you can order wherever you would like. Well, and you can order whichever ones of the patches that you want, the 39 and the 49. Those are the two stem cell patches that the company uses. And then there's a bunch of other patches on there as well that are used for other ones. Just the two stem cell patches, one of them's a generalist, and then the other is used for muscles, tendons, ligaments, and I think hair. That might have
Oh,
been the other one that's talked about.
you mean I
But
could grow more hair?
yeah,
All this thinning hair and it would grow? I need some for my husband.
go get them some.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
so the muscle patches, those are the ones that would be if you're working out a ton, that you would use that a ton for that. Or if you're muscle building, or I've noticed that even just with wearing it, that my muscles have seemed to be like there's more there, kind of a little bit how I felt
Hmm.
early on back when I used to lift for at least 2 hours a day,
Wow.
Monday through Saturday, and then not quite as full as I felt then because my deadlift was 400 plus, squat was 300 plus, bench was 200 plus. I could almost shoulder press my body weight, and
Wow.
all this crazy stuff. I could curl 145 pounds
While
and
you were on
all.
the stem cell stuff,
No, that's
that
back
was
when I was in
before.
college.
When
So
you
when
were
I was,
younger.
yeah, when I was younger, there was I made I was working on making a run for a national championship in judo.
Oh,
So
wow.
judo was one of the PE classes that I could take to get my degree in college.
Ah,
So I just kept on retaking judo again and again. And my technique was really bad starting off. So I figured, well, until I get good at that, I can just get into the best shape of my life. And I lifted crazy amount. I spent at least 2 hours a day in the gym, and
wow.
that was Monday through Saturday, and then I took Sunday off as a rest day. But
Talk about
yeah,
commitment.
yeah, I want to look like Arnold, and I think Arnold took a rest day. I can take a rest day, and
Huh. Wow.
so yeah. But I've noticed personally that I felt that with my muscles, just wearing the patch, and then just got back into lifting and working out. So I'm
Hmm.
excited where that goes and see how all that improves.
Yeah, no kidding. So how did you come into this? Did you read about it or did somebody approach you or what?
I was first introduced to it by my dad.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah, so I have multiple sclerosis. So parents being loving, so my dad being the loving dad that he is, and parents caring about you and want to see the best for their kids, that my dad was like, hey, you should try these out and see how they are. And then started wearing them for a little while there. And then my dad noticed me doing some stuff better.
Hmm.
And then took a break for him, and then it got back on him, and then went in with became a brand partner with the company and
Wow.
started learning a ton about it and reading
Wow.
all there's 80 research articles behind all the different patches that we've come up that David Schmidt has invented. So start reading all the research articles and hearing him talk about different research, and
Hmm.
crazy because not all of them have been done with because David talks about the game changer for him was when he figured out what the copper peptide could do.
What
That's
if you
when
don't have
things
copper? What if you're low on your copper?
it would help.
It might help
So
stimulate getting more,
yeah,
producing more.
I know that there was a hospital that was in Ireland that was looking at replacing all of its countertops and stuff with copper for people to touch, because in Ireland that they found out that copper was preventing people from catching COVID.
Ah,
So
wow.
Ireland was doing that, and I don't know whatever happened to the hospital where they were at with that, or they ever finished that. But things like copper peptide, and just with the benefits of that just copper can have with a bunch of other stuff, that it's
Hmm.
really cool.
Well, that's interesting because I grew up in the 50s and I remember that we had lead pipes in the basement. And then all of a sudden we had copper pipes. And now they have PCV. And I'm sorry, but I go for the copper ones over PCV because PCV to me is it's a plastic. Copper is much more durable, but I don't know
Right.
why they switched.
And with a lot of plastics, you have the, I'm trying to remember the name, you have chemicals in them that once it gets in your body, that thing's stuck there
Oh
for,
yeah, yeah, those the forever chemicals.
yeah,
Yeah.
forever chemicals.
Well, this is my take on why they switched from lead. I can see, um, like mercury. Growing up, we had mercury in our hands, and it'd be liquid. It'd go to a little ball. We'd roll it around, and now it's like, oh my God, you touched mercury, right? So we've come a long way, but we had lead pipes. So okay, we got rid of them. We went to copper, and why did we get rid of copper? I don't know. On copper toxicity, they'd probably say whatever. It comes down to me, it's all about the money, because now we're doing all this plastic. And here in Texas, we have water breaks all the time because it can't hold up to the extreme heat. And it's so rocky where we live, they can't bury it very deep. So anyway, it's kind of like too much plastic and milk jugs, water bottles, soda bottles, whatever, all this
Right.
plastic. And we wrap things in plastic, all that. So we're getting all this plastic and we're getting sicker and putting the water through those pipes instead of through copper. Yeah, we get sicker and we go to the doctor more often and we get more pills more often and we get sicker if you follow the drift without saying profit over pain.
Right.
Pain to profit. And that's a chapter in an anthology I'm doing on a personal story of me. Instead of going to the root cause, they wanted to give me drugs. And I resisted. And 3
Yeah.
years later, I'm finding what's working. And the stem
Yeah.
cells will help.
Yeah. And if you look at different research, more and more research is coming out. They're finding plastic in people. And I want to say one of the last articles I saw, they found plastic in people's hearts. Because there's so much plastic
Yeah.
that's in our world, and it bleeding into your water supply, your food supply, whatever, and then you eating it and that getting in your body, and
Yeah.
then different pieces of plastic popping up in whatever
Mhm.
parts of your body. None of it's large enough that you can tell that, oh, hey, there's a piece of
You're
plastic
right.
that,
Right. It's
but
the chemical residue of it.
right,
Kind of like a pill, and it's a powder and it gets absorbed in the body. So it can go through the blood or whatever. And we wonder why we're getting puffy. I don't call it fat. It's not a true fat. It's a puffy fatness that we've gotten. And I believe it's from all the crap that we've ingested, whether we drink, eat, don't exercise, whatever. So, and then we go for the easy fix, stem cells. But hey, I take care of myself, and I can tell you take care of yourself too.
yeah, yeah. I think I looked at a photo of my ID card in college, and I looked from it, even old photos of me from then to now, and I look at the photos, and I'm like, man, I just haven't aged that much. And then a lot of guys, they give me trouble or whatever, like, oh, well, we can all look like you and young and whatever. I'm like, guys, I'm like, I've got the Dick Clark thing going on. Because remember the Dick Clark Midnight Eve show, and you had all those years, he looked
Oh, he
young.
never aged. Yeah.
One year he showed up and I'm like, man, you look like your age. I'm like, guys, you age as you should. I age overnight. I'm like, there's a difference between us. But I'm like, don't worry, we're both gonna age at some point.
Right.
It's age faster than I do.
Hmm. Wow. What
But
else
with
can we hit on? Have I missed anything for asking a question about it? About the STEM stuff? It just fascinates me. I can't wait to start it. I want to hang up and take it right now. Yeah. So say again how people can order it or get more information.
Yeah, so you can order it and you can find more information. If you type in lifewave.com/the autoimmune coach, then that will pull you towards it. And then you can scroll to the bottom of the page and you can look at all the different research articles that are there and
And order.
go, yeah, in order.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Are you going to be talking about this at Sticker Shock in a couple of weeks?
I'm figuring out how to work everything in there, and then that way I stay within
Your
all
10
the
minutes.
guidelines
Yeah.
and everything,
Yeah.
and
Because I
go,
think it would be a fascinating thing for everybody to hear.
yeah, see
Yeah.
what I can say and see what I can't say, and
Yeah. Yeah. We have
go
time.
from there. Yeah, got about 3 weeks.
Yeah, I know it. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it'll be great seeing you again as well.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a good crowd. And I got the list the other day, and there's people on there I don't know. I've never met them. So that's what I like about this. It's just fascinating to meet all these people that, and so many of them are so kind and so loving, and I want the best for everybody. And we're all on our separate journeys, same goal, but all the different, the way that we all get there to the goal that we're going. It's just fascinating. I have met so many incredible, loving people in this venture. They're new friends, you know.
Right. Yeah, I think in the big picture spectrum that the majority of people who want to get on stages and talk and help people with their coaching, we're all in the service industry. So we all care about people and we all want to add value to other people.
Right.
And then there's I'm sure you've run into ones as I've run into ones that they're in it for the money
Oh yeah.
and they're not really, they're adding value, but it's really only with what they're doing and oh, buy my product and
Right. It's adding
whatever.
value that's going to benefit them, not value to help us. Yeah.
Right.
But that's everywhere too. That's in everybody's workday. But yeah, and I just let God guide me. It's just like I did a speech in Colorado, probably close to 2.5, 3 months by now. And when I came back 2 days later, God spoke to me. He said, "You need to start your diabetes course now." So I'm going to say here so the public can hear it too. I am going to launch Taming Diabetes Differently, because if you do diabetes as it's told, you're going to have diabetes and you're going to stay on it. But I know through my own experience, and once again, it's like you said with the disclaimer, I'm not telling people to, you work with your doctor. So it's like what you eat, what you think about, it's all this stuff that all comes into. So I'm going to start, let's see, Taming Diabetes at yahoo.com will be my email. And I want to start a group just to talk about it, to see where you are, how you feel about it, what do you eat, what do you do. I don't have diabetes, but I'm just testing my finger every day, a different finger. And because I do biometric screenings, and we're supposed to use one of these two fingers, the ring or the middle finger. And I'm thinking, why? Because I've done the little finger, man, do I bleed? But I have to squeeze on these sometimes, right? So now I'm doing all my fingers, this side, this side, like that. And it's fascinating that the numbers are different on every finger. I ate the same thing last night, and this morning my numbers are different than what I ate the same thing the night before. I just think it's, and because it's pretty much the same time of day that I'm doing my finger stick, but I'm enjoying the journey of my own research on it, so to speak. And I'm also going to offer it through Texas A&M College has partnered with Dr. Sears, where I got my health coach certification. And Texas A&M partnered with the American Diabetes Association and the American Heart Association. So I will have this package and people can follow that, or they can go from what this package says and then follow what I have to say. And that's their choice. They can follow traditional medicine or follow common sense medicine.
Right. And there's some doctors who are doing some pretty cool stuff in the diabetic realm.
Oh, yeah.
There's a doctor, I forget his name, but um he deals with, I forget the name of what he deals with, but a lot of it's with dealing with treating whatever caused the root cause and dealing with that. And then he deals with different injections and all those work on whatever.
Mhm.
And that he's diabetic and he was like, I use insulin to save my life and keep me going.
Right.
And he talked about that. Go ahead and see if he can't figure out the diabetic problem. And he's like, that would be an amazing
Right.
discovery to go. He deals with low dose immunotherapy.
Mm.
And so all he deals with is he comes up with different tinctures or whatnot and then injects it in there. And then he's had success with Lyme's disease and a bunch of other ones. And he tests on all of his family and other friends. And he
Yeah.
goes, if there's one group who's not going to sue you, it's your family.
Yeah. 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 Well, it's just fascinating. And like I said, it's not about making money on people.
Right.
It's about helping people and making some money because I spent over $1,000 just on the one class on insulin resistance. And then the training and the hours that you spend researching this and researching that, people don't understand that. And I was going to start out at a lower price, and somebody said, "Oh no, you got to charge more." And then that was like $400 more. And then somebody else said, "Oh no," and that was going to be $300 more than the other. So it's like $500 more than what I was thinking. And I said, "Yeah, it sounds great. The money sounds great, but that stops so many more people from being
Right.
able to. I'd rather help 20 people at $5. Just don't quote me for that. Than 5 people at 500. You get what I'm saying. I'd help more people and make the same money as if I have just a few. And I want to run a package or whatever. I'm still in the development phase of it. But until then, I had just discovered yesterday on a $27 I spent, and I'm going to give Johnny Cooper out of the UK credit for it. I listened to him, and it's like, bingo, how do you get an audience? Well, we're talking. So I put out my on Facebook or whatever. I'm going to announce it. Hey, I've got Taming Diabetes Differently at AnleyMaster.com. And if you want to get on and talk about diabetes, let's have a group. And I know several people that have groups that, so I don't know technology. So I'm a struggle with that. I know my stuff, medical stuff. I just don't know how to present it technologically. So anyway, I look at it as a fun journey because I
It
love to
is.
learn. And then what good does it do if it just stays here? So I love to learn, and I get this, I get that. Oh, and I have to share Wegovy, which is a offshoot of Ozempic, the latest and greatest, rather than metformin. I read an article where how it works for weight loss. Okay, so we eat all the stuff we shouldn't and more than we should of what we shouldn't, and now we're overweight and unhealthy, and oh, we can take this weight loss pill. Okay, and in the meantime, you're still going to eat, right? And instead of
Right.
changing the diet first. So they
And
take this quick fix pill, and unfortunately, the way it works is it cuts your digestion by 70%. So this lady goes out with the family and they're eating and whatever, and nothing would go down. She ends up going to the hospital and her digestion had shut down completely. So that's a side effect of Wegovy. You know, the people are taking that pill like it. I say it's irresponsibly. They're trusting the doctor who's making his money on selling that pill, and they're taking it rather than to take charge of their own life. And talking to somebody that knows anything about nutrition and changing what you're eating. We've been
Yeah,
so indoctrinated on
yeah,
junk.
right. And with a ton of weight and whatnot, that a lot of people don't realize that part of the reason why obesity is such an epidemic in the US is there's sugar in who knows, like I was reading the back of some potato chips and I was reading it and then I was like, oh, don't care about this, whatever. But then maybe it was I forget what number of ingredient it was. There was sugar in it. I was like, why would you put sugar in potato chips? I'm like, that doesn't make any
Any
sense at
sense?
all. Like, you look at some of your packaged meat, it
Mm.
has sugar in it. You look at a lot of bacons, those have
Oh yeah,
sugar in them.
sugar coated or whatever. Yeah. But the thing is, it's not even real sugar anymore. It's the fake sugar. And this is very interesting. I was educated on nursing back in the 80s and 90s before the medical system got so bought out by the money hungry outfits. We were asked, probably 30 of us in our class, and they asked us, what's more important, the brain or the gut? So, you know, we're talking amongst each other, and we all came to common consensus it's got to be the brain, because after all, if your brain dead, nothing works. They knew then it was the gut, and it was just coming on with all this artificial stuff. So I came into God speaks to me intuitively. I know things. And several years ago, I didn't explain it right, but several years ago, it came across that our liver, how do I say this? We ingest the stuff, and I it just I need some stem cells. I just lost the thought. But our liver processes the toxins out. And I would tell people, and I got it back now. I would tell people we have our little tummies here because we're eating whatever, and we got this one fat cell, and we keep it's getting bigger. Now we got two. It was the same idea, but not quite correct because we kept getting fatter, right? It's because the toxins, the liver is to clear the toxins, and it is inundated with toxins throughout the day. So for every one it can take care of, it's got 400 more coming in. It can't keep up. So the job of the liver is to encapsulate that toxin and get rid of it, right? And it just is overwhelmed. So now we're having bad livers, you know, and well, we just have to stop with all that stuff. And the general public isn't educated on that because we have gotten so used to take a pill for that. It's so much easier. Well, life isn't easy.
Right. And a lot of people don't realize that your brain has a brain, your mouth has a brain,
Mhm.
and your gut has a brain. And they found out that there are special cells in your heart
Oh, yes.
that if you put your hands over your heart, you connect with those cells and they start working and reconnecting everything for you. That everything's been so intricately
Mm.
designed that if they did a study and they found that the number one cause of Alzheimer's is people with their mouths. That if you have bad dental work, and there's a higher chance that you can come up with one of the memory diseases, and
Because,
that's because your mouth is, you can see photos that it's got connections and stuff that goes
oh,
up to
yeah.
your brain. So
Yeah.
stuff that's leaking, if you have a leaky, so uh bleeding gums and different stuff like that, that's just as bad for you as, say, a leaky gut is.
Right. Right.
And if you have issues, work on it and then get that effect
Now,
so that
I
that
I
doesn't
had a
affect.
lot of cavities as a kid, and so I had a lot of mercury. And I've read about mercury so bad, right? So I go into a biological dentist, whatever. And anyhow, I had them removed. And my HC reactive protein, most people get the C reactive protein test done, but you want the high sensitive C reactive protein. And I was like a 3.9, and you shouldn't be more than a 1. After I had them removed 3 months later, I was down to a 0.9 because I had
Congratulations.
mercury out. Yep. Yep. I mean, just like that. Wow. And then if you have a root canal, it's the tooth is there, but the little pathway is there. Like you said, it starts as the root kind of thing, but it goes into here, into the neck, whatever, and it's like a river, the ocean to a river, to a stream, to a little trickle.
Right. And as damaging as root canals are to your mouth, that
Mm,
it's better that if you can just get that tooth pulled
right,
and avoid all the damage and trauma the dentist does to your mouth with
right,
doing a root canal, because the majority of them do not know how to do one properly, and then you have problems later on down the road. I mean, the
right.
dentist societies just started saying maybe we shouldn't put mercury in people's mouths.
Duh. I know. Mercury is known to be so bad, and then they're putting it in our mouths. Yeah, I know.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, shall we wrap it up? And do you have any last words on the stem cell patches?
The only thing I'd say is, as you said, the older you get, the lesson that your body's still making a ton, and that the activating your stem cells makes it so that your body starts using more of what you're making. Your body's still making a ton, but it's just using less and less of what it's making. And when you elevate the copper peptide in your body starts using more. And what better way to do it than about the price of a cup of Joe?
Right. No kidding. I love it. I love it. Well, thank you, Michael, for being on and sharing real valuable information on those stem cell patches. And I enjoyed talking to you about the other health aspects as well, because
Right?
I know somebody listening got benefit out of that. So I want to thank you for being on and sharing. And I want to thank you, the audience, for joining our podcast today. I hope you learned something new, because I certainly did, and I enjoyed it. So please share this episode with a friend, and you'll find it on YouTube and Facebook, wherever podcasts are. And don't forget, I'll be here again in about 2 weeks for another Common Sense Living podcast episode. So toodaloo.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Oh, you bet. Thank you for tuning in to my Common Sense Living podcast today. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm sure you learned something new. Please leave a kind review and share this episode with a friend. And be sure to subscribe yourself. You'll find me on iTunes, Spotify, and other platforms. And don't forget, we'll be here again next week with another insightful episode of Common Sense Living. I can hardly wait.